Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Wiedemeyer. Welcome to the Authentic Friends podcast, where I'm having real conversations with great friends that I've crossed paths with through the years. These are amazing people I've known throughout my life, and I'm loving the opportunity to introduce some of them with you. I'm letting you in on some of the incredible conversations that I get to have with pretty amazing people that I feel have something really awesome to say. My hope is that these conversations will spur the light of God into the cracks of our lives and begin to bring freedom and healing where it is needed. Authenticity is a core value to me, and I love the people God has led me to do life with. It's important that we can just be ourselves and be honest and go after Him in our most truth-telling and genuine ways. And so with that, I have the privilege today of introducing Heather Hills to you. And Heather lives in San Diego, California. She's married to Rich, and together they have three amazing kids: Maggie, Happy, and Dakota. Heather is currently on the island of Malta, where she has spent the last 10 weeks of her summer. I'll let her tell us a little bit about that adventure. And she and I met in college. We were choir tour mates. We loved singing together, and we've even tried some surfing outside the back door of our school. We've been friends for 40 years. Heather has been through quite a wild last 5 years or so. She had a golf ball sized tumor laying on her left adrenal gland and didn't know it. And this was leading to some pretty harrowing symptoms. And then it was discovered that she had Cushing's syndrome. Navigating this health issue has been so difficult and trying. And she's had some other experiences too with her family and with her, most recently, her work environment. And we might be able to unpack some of that too. But just want to, as a disclaimer, say that Heather's dealing with some vocal issues. So we'll see how long her voice holds out. It's hard for her to talk right now, but she's a dear friend, and I want to bring her on now to just share with us kind of what's been going on and what she's learning. She's learning a lifetime of wisdom right in these last few years. So I'll bring Heather on. Let's see if I can bring her in. Hi, Heather. I don't know if you can see me yet. You'll have to bring on your video and your audio. And there you are. Can you say something?
Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
if I could get any.
Your background is far more interesting than my clock and my wall. You're on the island of Malta, for heaven's sakes. Oh, Heather, welcome.
Thank you. How do I make you bigger? Thanks. Can you help me do this?
You
I
should
have
have
my
a, you should have a little thing that says
there.
gallery. Do you have gallery view? Are you all set?
Yeah.
Oh, and you're you are you're like overlooking right where we read in the book of Acts about Paul and his shipwreck, aren't you? In the bay there?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see his statue from here. It's right up at the tip of the island. It's
Oh,
actually on another tiny, tiny island right across from this one.
there's a statue?
Yes. In St. Paul. is out there and he's huge. And I like how you'd think he'd be facing in so we can see him. No, he's facing the sea. I kind of like,
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
and the part that I love about that story is, he prophesies that if everyone stays with the ship, they'll all live. But how could they live? And he also says, but the ship will be wrecked, but every man will live.
Right.
And how could he say that if, half of them are non-swimmers? And so
Right.
I got to thinking about that, like, what? And that's the part that I love, where it says that the stern will stick fast, but
Mm.
no, sorry, the bow of the boat will stick fast, and the stern will be smashed to bits. And
Yes.
that's so there'll be floating parts for the
Yes.
non-swimmers to climb to, and they
Yes.
skateboard all the way to shore.
The
And then
provision of God.
yeah, yeah, not one hair on anyone's head will be harmed. I'm like, wow, that's millions out of 276 sailors.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that
Because
about you. I love that you don't look at things from a surface level. You dive in and with everything. You've always been like that, and you're very. I was thinking about all the things I love about you and how you not only see things, deeply, but you can communicate so well, Heather. I Every time I hear you talk, I'm like, is she reading from a book or is this coming out of her head? It's not a book
yeah,
yet, but it could
I
be.
hadn't read that before. It was just like, because well, I'm a previous swimming teacher, and
Yeah.
so kickboards and that's a huge thing, like frightened swimmers and stuff. You don't want people to be afraid. And I just can't imagine 2 weeks in such crazy storm. They're throwing everything overboard. And then suddenly Paul says, wait, I want you guys to eat your fill of everything. And they finally get to eat after 14 days. And then they throw the rest overboard and they
Right.
lighten and they feel it's like the sailors sensed they were coming upon land, and then they could see the breakers and they checked the depth, and
Yeah.
it gets shallower and shallower. And so they're excited, but they're scared, like we're gonna wreck. And some tried to run away. And Paul's like, no, do not do that, or you'll perish. If you
Right.
stayed with the shipwreck, you'll live. It's just crazy
The whole
backwards.
thing. Yeah, it's such a huge lesson on trust. Every step
Yeah.
is like the opposite of what you would think you would want to do in this situation.
And it's a huge adventure story. It's, like other classic American or English adventure stories, but it takes up a chunk of Bible space. Like
Yeah.
there's something big happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so speaking of Malta, how did you get to come to Malta, for heaven's sakes, of all places? What are you
Oh
doing
man,
there?
what am I doing in Malta? Um, I'll tell the end of this story, just what the answer to what you asked, and then if we have time, I'll go back like how it came to be. Maybe I'll go back a little bit though. We sold our home of 33 years that I loved, and all these things started changing. And then we started like cat sitting and senior people sitting and house sitting. And now we're accompanying a man from Sunday school. I call him Mr. Gilson because he's 91 and I just can't call him Jim. And he started these quality schools international all over the world, but the headquarters is in Malta, and his
Oh,
son works at headquarters. So every summer when they're out of school, the son and his family get to come to San Diego to visit Mr. Gilson, which means we need to plan a trip or go somewhere. So we were going to, my idea, rent. This is so great. Here's the mortal's human idea. Rent a Sprinter van with a restroom in it and drive. It's like 2,500 miles up California, which I would have seen you, sorry. But Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and to try to plan it like this. And it was just getting crazier. And Rich said one time on the way home from church, he's like, yeah, people are house swapping. Ha, we should swap houses with the kids from Malta. And I just went, we should switch houses with the kids from Malta. And I called them and they said yes. And
Gosh.
so we started packing. We told our kids and my brother and sisters, my parents, like, we're going. You guys are invited. You can only come kind of one at a time. Because we thought it was tiny. We thought it was like a one bedroom. Okay, this is a palace. It's
Wow.
the hallway. We've measured it is 33 yards long. That's more than a third of a football field, and it's three
Oh.
bedrooms and two bathrooms. And you have to remember to get everything from this room because when you walk all the way down to the bedroom, it's like, "Ah, I don't want to go back and get what I forgot." But
Wow.
and then the view, the Mr. Gilson's kids are so humble and contrite. His daughter-in-law's born and raised in Japan, so she's very, very humble and didn't give uh she saved some big surprises for us, let's say it that way. And we came in and right away our kids started coming and
Wow.
then Rich got his dream. He got to play a tennis tournament in Florence, Italy in
Oh
the
my goodness.
Masters 70s singles. And that was just great. I got to see museums I've always wanted to see and had so much fun with my sister and her husband and my brother. And then let me see. We went to Rome and we were under the weather that the day we were supposed to go see it. So I did this greatest thing. I went on YouTube and I got the top 7 scenes from Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck back in the 50s or whatever. And I
Wow.
watched top 7 places and I just said, we can do that. And we absolutely just mimicked where they went like this in an hour and a half and then went back to bed. But it was so fun. And that was perfect for my husband. He's like, you know, content with simpleness and
Yeah.
he likes to give you things, but he's he could live without seeing the Colosseum, but he saw it. So yay.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a brilliant idea to be able to figure out where to go in a short amount of time. I'm sorry you didn't feel well when you were doing it.
Oh, then we got better and it's been great. It's just like the biggest decision seems like which turquoise bay should I swim in today? It's just like, they're so beautiful. The blue lagoon, the blue grotto, the blue hole, the azure window. Well, that one now is fallen, but
That's
then these
amazing.
tombs and temples. As the crow flies, I live like 100 meters from the bay, and then on the backside, 100 meters from some of the oldest historical sites in the world. 6,000 year old, is it monolithic? Geolithic? Anyways, something tombs where they would bury special people. And there's 7 of them. And I told you after I jumped in the bay, I went and walked all those and counted them. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, they're spread out, and you could fall in them. They're huge pits, and they're not always marked. And but this has been a big part of my healing, kind of, that I'm very excited about because well, it started with an avocado pit, but now I just do a rock. So I take the pit and I throw the pit in the pit of death and say goodbye. And I'm going to leave you here. God's going to free me from you, and you stay here, and I go home to freedom. So my big mantra is I'm going to leave it all in Malta.
I'm going to leave it all in Malta. I just love you a million times more because you're going to leave it all in Malta. I think this is so amazing that God has given you this opportunity. My goodness. And you're there, are you there by yourself now? Because everyone kind of had to go home, or?
Everyone has come and gone, but Maggie came and left. I think almost everyone also went to Greece, and she also went to Greece. Then she came back with her friend, and that she met in France because of my brother a couple of years ago. And so we had a lot of fun. And but so Lizzie went home to Aix-en-Provence, and now it's just me and Maggie. And then I
Oh,
leave Saturday,
Maggie.
and
Oh,
Maggie leaves like Sunday or Monday. And then the Mr. Gilson's kids come home on Tuesday, I think.
oh my goodness. So you're headed back to San Diego this weekend.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's kind of unpack. I told everybody you weren't on yet, but I told everybody how we met at Point Loma Nazarene University, and how we've been friends for 40 years. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And in the last 5 years or so, I guess, I guess I first wanted to talk about your health journey, like what's been happening in your body and what's the Lord shown you, and tell us about what's gone on. So it's been a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I told you I wrote notes to keep me on track. So one of my goals is to not do too many rabbit trails. Um, so I was just um really, I was gonna say sick, but I wasn't sick. I was just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And there was no answers, and there's um it was so frustrating because people had all these great ideas for diets and stuff like that. And um, two of our kids got married 35 days apart. So I'm trying to fit in a mother of the bride and mother of the groom. And just, I have like an apparatus machines under these dresses just going like this so somebody can zip them. And it was a crazy time. So when I mean, I go to the dermatologist for issues. I have polka dots all over. I couldn't see, so I go to ophthalmologist. I couldn't hear, so audiologist. I have my joints hurt, so I have a rheumatologist. Can you imagine? Like I have my own rheumatologist. And then orthopedic. I have 35 doctors on my list.
Wow.
And they
God.
finally found it that my doctor said, I think I know what this is, and there's a cure. And then she said, then I did all these scans, and here is the greatest news ever. They said, we found a golf ball sized tumor on your left adrenal gland. And I was so happy. This is a unbelievable thing. And when I dissect that, I go like, I would rather have cancer than be crazy like I've been for 5 years. Like, give me cancer, we can deal. And and so they did deal. I had the greatest surgeon set the record for adrenalectomies, 206. So that was fun. But
What does
when he
that mean?
met me,
What does that mean? The record
oh,
206.
he holds the record for the most adrenalectomies. He's a
Oh,
surgeon.
okay.
So,
So
so
you
that
were you number 206?
yeah, I was number 206.
Wow.
And when he met me, he didn't even say hello. He just looked at me and said, "You got it." And I went, "Great. What do we do?"
Wow.
Because I feel like I'm going to explode. And even then, the crisis hotline calls me back and they're like, Mrs. Hills, talk about explode. Are you okay? Do you want to injure yourself? And I'm like, no, I'm going to actually explode. And it just everything is so frustrating. And so okay. Well, here, stick to
Your
my
poor
notes.
family. I can just imagine Rich walking alongside of you trying to figure out what's happening with his poor wife. My gosh.
So yeah, I gained 60 pounds.
Wow.
I had sleeplessness and eventual hypertensive crisis. And when I showed him my pictures, um, I might recommend this to some people who are feel like they're changing so fast. Like, here's me at Thanksgiving, here's me at Christmas, here's me yesterday. And he looked at me and he said, "You look like an escaped convict from a women's prison." And I said, "Thank you." And he moved my surgery from 16 weeks to 16 days. And I was so excited, but I didn't make it. I went into hypertensive crisis, which is high blood pressure. And the intake nurse said, she saw, got one look at me and said, "We can't operate on that." Because I was just like, "Blah." Um,
Oh my Lord.
so So anyways, for I always want to, so it's called Cushing's. And there's Cushing's syndrome that I had, and there's Cushing's um what's the other one? Cushing's disease of the pituitary. And 6 in a million people have Cushing's disease, 4 in a million people have Cushing's syndrome. And it's hypercortisolism, just cortisol going all the time. Like I would say, like, even an alcoholic like blacks out and gets a break. Like that is, God's grace for wherever. But with hypercortisolism, you never get a break. It's just going 24/7 constantly. You can't sleep. You're up all night vacuuming, making um, whatever, laundry, food, all kinds of stuff. Um,
Does
so
that mean you had
yeah.
energy, or you just, does it feel like energy, or does it feel abnormal?
Um, yeah, I had a lot of energy. It's just like way too much caffeine, but all
Oh,
the
okay.
time. Like it doesn't feel great. Um, I say I only gained 60 pounds. Some people gain 100, 150 pounds. And this is like in a year or a couple years. And they're like, "Blah." Um, but you also get a round moon face. And I want to share this part because if anyone if I would have Googled just three of my symptoms, it would have come up Cushing's. I could have saved 5 years. And meantime, though, I just about didn't make it, 4 trips to the hospital, all this stuff. But you also get a fatty buffalo hump between your shoulders. And I had two like jellyfish, fat jellyfish on my whatever these are, bones.
Yeah.
Um,
My
thin
goodness.
skin that bruises easily, wounds that won't heal. Then all the highs. I had way too high cholesterol, way too high blood sugar, pre-diabetic, and the high blood pressure was the big one. Weak muscles. I get down on the floor like to try to do sit-ups and push-ups, and I get stuck on the floor and just start crying like I cannot get up because your muscles are just being eaten away by cortisol, and
Mm-hmm.
it's packing on the protection of like a tub of lard
Yeah.
to save your inside organs, to
Yeah.
protect your inside organs.
Yeah.
Um, but overall mood changes, really changes in mood from bottomless energy and sleep anxiety to like foggy forgetfulness or irritable, like snapping over little things. And but so I'm part of the Cushing's Support and Research Foundation. It's worldwide. We're having our next national convention in Phoenix, so I think I can go. But we we all agreed if, and there's not a lot of us, because
Wow.
some just want to like don't ever want us to hear about it
Yeah.
again. They
Yeah.
just bolt. And some didn't make it,
Mm.
and some of us are left. There's like 10 to 20 people on a Zoom once a month, but we came up with this phrase to ask someone that is complaining about their weight or their moods or their like
Mhm.
is to ask this question: do you think your face has changed in the last year? If anyone would have asked me that, I would have gone, yes. Why would you know to ask me that? And then you can just say, just Google the word Cushing's and then just like walk away. So it's not because you don't want to go like, hey, I noticed you look really bad. Um, but it would have helped me so much.
Mm.
Um, so let me see, where were we? So they had to postpone my surgery again for 4 more weeks. So they put me into morphine induced heavy deep sedation until my body could stabilize for 5 days. And I would wake up and I'd see my Sunday school teacher and I go, oh no. I'd wake up and see my pastor, oh no. My kids, oh no. And then when they told me your mother's coming, I just thought, oh, I'm going to die and she's coming to say goodbye.
Oh my God.
And she did, and all the kids came. And we have a picture with the little kitty on my lap, and I'm just in jammies, just going, and
Oh my
my
gosh.
parents are on my side with my husband. The kids are all in the back. And
Heather,
it was like,
what year is this? What month and year is
okay,
this?
so this is critical because let me see. Once you when I finally stabilized enough to have surgery, then you have zero cortisol. I went from 20 times too much cortisol. Like if someone has this much, 1 inch, I have 20 inches of cortisol just raging all the time. And when they took out that adrenal gland, I went from way too much to zero because this adrenal gland has never done a lick of work in his life, right? So they got to wake him up. So they put you on a bridge, a prednisone, but they have to taper it so severely to tell this one to wake up, like you're in crisis, do your job. But what that's called is Addison's. You don't have enough cortisol.
Heather,
So
did you hear my question?
say it
Can you
again.
can you turn me up on your side so you can hear me better? Maybe increase your volume. Do you know how to do that? My question was, what month and year are you talking about?
Okay. So when I went into Addison's, they finally let me out like March 12th of 2020. And I'm like, I don't want to leave. And they go, you have to leave. Something terrible is coming. And I'm like, what? I want to stay. They're
Oh,
like, get out of the hospital now. And so I go home to recover. And that was the beginning of the pandemic in San Diego.
okay,
And
yeah.
so then, of course, no visitors. Our kids just went like they were on the last plane to South Korea to teach English. Ended up being
Right.
two. We didn't see them, and the other three were all over. So pretty quick, it's just me by myself. And Cushing's patients will tell you if you thought Cushing's syndrome was hard, Cushing's recovery is worse
Oh,
because when my doctor friend from high school, when I told her, and she had just seen me and she hadn't said anything and she felt terrible. And I told her Cushing syndrome, and she said, "Oh, honey, it's a 36-month recovery. You will be fighting your way back for 3 years." I'm like, "What?"
Oh.
Ah,
Oh my
back on the floor I go. Um, so I was very lonely and hopeless by myself in recovery without conduct any connection because the pandemic started. And oh, that this is my list of loss. But do you have questions first?
Well, I just want to tell you, 40 minutes goes by so fast. We're down to our last 7 minutes, but this can be part one. Can you hear me okay? And we can do part two. So if you want to like bring us up about 5 more minutes and then I'll have to turn off and turn back on to part two. How about that? Go
Yes.
ahead. Your list of
Um,
losses?
yeah, like so many hard things happened all at the same time. Um, I had just lost my mother-in-law, my favorite mother-in-law in the whole world.
Oh,
And we all did, and that was terrible, terrible hard. Um, then our kitty of 19 years and 3 months went to heaven.
oh,
Then we helped rip apart and transform and sell our home and have been
oh,
living all around since then. Then in April of 23, suddenly I we lost our respected pastor and my boss of 18 years. And this was not our congregation's choice. And my happiest place turned into a
oh,
tomb where each of my 9 coworkers like
oh,
had slowly and painfully quit one after another over the next 2 years.
oh my
We're always
goodness.
having goodbye parties and paying out paid time off, and it was
Oh,
so sad because it was so fun. We used to have
yeah.
the funniest staff meetings. They're all young, so I'm like just watching, but they would laugh until they cried every Tuesday. It was the funnest, happiest place ever. And to
Oh,
hear like pastor and different employees just laughing in his office was something I'll cherish forever.
yeah.
Um, then in April of 24, I received a formal and harsh dismissal letter in the mail from a 40-year family member blaming old rumors and gossip unknowingly tied to my previous Cushing's related dramatic behavior. They just thought I was turning into a terrible person. And I'm like, no, no, give me a chance. And it was like, no, I don't want to discuss this. And I'm like, really? We were best friends. It was just so out of my control, everything out of my control, out of everything, not my wishes. And coincidentally, right then, I suddenly lost my voice at the same time with no
Wow.
change yet. So that's a paresis of the right vocal cord. So I get to see head, chief staff, head and neck surgery next Monday. Again, I keep seeing him. But
Is that
so now,
is that in San Diego? You're going to go see a doctor? Okay.
yeah, again, to see if I qualify for any kind of surgery or implants or anything yet. Like one of the things too that I have experienced is, sorry, Heather, you have to get sicker. And you're like, really? I haven't talked in 18 months. I sound like a goose. Really? Or really? I've gained 60 pounds in months. I have to get sicker than high blood pressure. It was like 212 over 122. Like it was just raging. And so, anyways, um, yeah, then grieving. I've been releasing my children and their choices deep into God's trustworthy arms and just like really letting them go and the choices they're making as young adults, um, that are Mine were just really traditional. Theirs are less traditional. And so that's been part of my letting go. And then just 18 days ago, on August 22nd, getting an unexpected email that pushed me to quit my 18 and a half year dream job 2 years early. And so these things all came close together and they've just broken my heart. I was waking up crying every single day for months. So Rich and I started Christian counseling, marriage counseling. Then right away they said, Heather, you need more individual counseling. So I would do that twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week.
Wow.
And I also chose to start antidepressants, which helped me just get out of bed. So with that, the good news
Open
is
up the
coming.
floodgates of loss, and we will be back for part two.
Yes,
Heather, my heart just, I mean, you're smiling, but I don't want to lose the momentum. So I think this is a good time for us to take a break. And then if you need to do anything, I'm just going to pop off and pop back on and you can re-enter. And everybody, uh, talk about a cliffhanger. Come back for part two because we just don't get to get everything in this short amount of time, and I really want to get to the redemptive parts. Right? We want to see what the
right.
Lord's up to. So I'll be back.
He's up
You'll
to
be
stuff.
back. You'll be back,
Okay,
and I'll
all
see you in a
right.
minute. All right. Bless you.
Thanks.